Hey everybody, thank you for coming back. It's another 1010 Baltimore talk show, and I'm your host Bruce Jackson. I have two guests with me today. We had scheduled to come to my immediate right, Illustrate. Thank you for coming out, man.
No problem.
And to my far right, Darius. Do I have it right?
Yeah.
All right,
Nice
cool.
to meet you.
So two young brothers, man. I mean, we've been talking to a lot of different people, different walks of life, and we've been talking about different things as far as building our community, uplifting our community. We've heard from pastors and lawyers and mentors and activists and things of that nature, but we wanted to hear from some young people. Illustrate, you've been 21 years old.
Yeah, just recently, February 19th.
Yeah, just turned 21. Happy birthday, man. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And Darius, you're 22, am I correct?
Correct.
All right, cool. And you guys are artists. Like, how would you? What type of artists are you? Let's talk about that.
I'm a bit more, I call myself an entertainer. Because I like to do everything that has to do with entertainment and making people happy using art. I'm a singer, dancer, poet, rapper, producer, actor, model, host. I try and get to everything so that I can never say I have nothing.
Gotcha. Wow. Okay. So you're going to be performing at the end, so I can't wait to see that.
I got a nice little piece of it.
Okay, cool. Darius, tell us a little bit about what you do, man.
Well, mainly, I'm more so of a conscious artist.
Okay.
My goal is to make sure everybody is looking at things at a different perspective. I never really do a self-piece because if for people who know me, they will already know I'm an open book. I will tell you everything about me, having no honest behind. But I'd love to put you in a different perspective of like certain objects. I have a song called Talking Objects. It's mainly about just telling people who's in a dark state of mind who wants to commit suicide not to do it.
Wow.
But I am the object that's talking to you.
Wow. Okay. That's great. So, man, I watch things on social media and I see a lot of things going on, open mic nights and all kinds of things, and you guys are a major part of that. I'm gonna tell you something, man. When we first started 1010 Baltimore, in the networking phase, I found Nova on social media, and I began following him, and I went to one of his events. He had a meet and greet, like a networking event, and I went there. He connected me with a lot of different people, and I know he was supposed to be here tonight. Now he's your mentor, am I correct?
Yes, Nova Gray. Shout out to Nova Gray. I wish he could be here tonight. He's under the weather. He really took me under as a little brother and really showed me the business ropes. Showed me the business ropes and gave me a platform where I could really work on my art and get the feedback from the right people and develop a fan base in Baltimore, which is rather hard to do from time to time.
Right.
Finding that support, and I think he really put me in the perfect position to find a support system. And what we call the Artistry Tuesdays family.
Gotcha. Okay. That's good. And and through that networking event, meeting Nova and transitioning to another event I came to, where I actually got to hear you perform, and you did a piece, and the piece was so good, I had to find you. As soon as you gave your social media information, I had to find you and send you a message like, man, we got to talk, I want to get you on the show, interview you. Because, man, you had a great piece, and I think the thing I like about the art, especially when it comes to the spoken word and the poetry and the rap, is that you get a chance to pretty much vocalize your feelings, your thoughts, and what's going on, and you get to do it in a positive way, and I like it a lot, So I wanted to definitely have you on the show to come on and talk about that, man. We wanted to hear from young people who could give us your perspective of how you view what's going on in the city and the things. Now you're not from Baltimore, right?
No, I'm from the Bronx, New York. Born and raised. Moved here when I was about 8 or 9.
Okay.
So I've been here for about 12, 13 years now.
Okay. Now, what would you say the differences, some of the biggest challenges or differences you faced here?
I feel like Baltimore is it's rather similar to New York.
Okay.
More similar than people think, especially in the city. It's a lot more crowded there.
Gotcha.
A lot more busy, a lot more fast. This takes New York and slows it down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I I would say I probably like Baltimore a bit better as far as living.
Okay.
It's been a great place to live. It's been, I was getting into trouble in New York, which is why I came here.
Right.
And the people are different.
Okay.
In New York, you're rarely noticed. It's like walking through a sea of great faces. Everybody is there. Everybody's in the same mission of the American dream, and it's really easy to get overlooked. Coming to Baltimore, I felt like I was able to stick out a little bit more. I was able to develop myself in a way that didn't just have me being part of the crowd. I was able to stick out. Being that I was even from New York even helped me stick out.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, Darius, how's it for you? Are you from Baltimore?
Yes, I'm from Baltimore.
Okay. So now, you being a resident here all of your life, what's some of the things you say you've seen and or witnessed, and you feel like, well, I feel like if we had this as young people, we would be better. Like, what would that be?
Well, honestly, what I've seen lately is, at first I always thought it was, I would see the same people who want the same thing, or is one-track minded. But lately, I've just been running into a variety of people whose minds are actually open and enlightened, and takes me in a different direction. Just very interesting people.
Okay. That's it. All right. Now, what do you guys do for fun? So, as young people, what's fun to do? Being young artists, what do you consider, especially in Baltimore?
Performing. I love being part of the art and part of the culture. I literally, my spare time is like, wake up. All right, where am I performing tonight? All right, let me link up with my friends. All right, let's go rehearse. Let's go to an event for our people. I don't really frequent clubs like that. I don't really go to strip club. I don't do all that party necessarily. I more so do group activities. I'd rather be around people doing this art. I'd rather be performing. There's an open mic every night in the city.
Okay.
There's literally an open mic every night that I can probably tell you enjoy. I did it first week of February. I went through 7 days of performing.
Wow.
And it is very possible, and it's a very positive thing to do, because when you're in those places, you're safe.
Right.
I'm not, out in the streets where I've had a friend get robbed at the street from here. Literally on this street, like on Redwood, like on the corner of Redwood and Calvert. It's a dangerous city. Right. And it's good to be in a place where you won't be touched by that danger. And not only not touched by that danger, but only touched by art, only touched by positivity and positive people that want to be there and want to enjoy what you want to enjoy. Right. So that's what I look for in fun. I have my vices, of course, as a 21-year-old. But when it comes down to it, that's what I really enjoy. It's art.
Gotcha. Same for you, Darius? How do you feel?
Same for me. I love performing. I love just linking up with my friends, just coming in the house, be surrounded by good vibes, listen to music, enjoy each other's company, have good conversations. And also on Thursdays, being part of Micology, we're part of this group called Micology. He's the president, I'm the vice president.
Okay.
And Micology is basically a group that's about freedom of expression.
Okay.
So anyone who come and join our club, whether you rap, sing, act, comedy, even a motivational speaker, or even photographers.
We've had
DJs.
people who are just spectators that just want to come and enjoy the art and want to support.
Wow. So how do you feel this art helps our city?
It's a positive energy. There's so much negative energy. There's so much negative art put out there. It's not even art at this point. It's literally just a negative weapon that disguises itself as art. This materialistic trap music type vibe that's been going on in our society, especially in our generation, has been rather a negative thing towards us. You don't have people spitting about the positives. You don't have people singing about what they love about their life. You have people singing about and rapping about what somebody else told them to love. Right. Somebody else told them to love that money. Somebody else told them to love that gun that they hold in their hand. Somebody else told them what they believe in, and they don't have their own concept of what to believe in. I feel like we bring that positive energy. We bring that difference. Something different from the 808s, something different from the trap, something different from the grass and guns, something that includes, I have an operatic background. I was trained classically as a singer.
Okay.
So I can sing in French, Italian, and German. That's not gonna reach people's ears as much as it's gonna reach gang, 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 you know?
Right.
But I try to infuse it. I try to take, you know, that gang, gang, gang and take it to us, you know? And make it into, yeah, you know what, we might be a little wild, but we can take that wild into the right direction.
Right.
You can be a wild radical that's going towards putting plants and trees into the earth. You could be a wild radical that's going towards making sure the right people are in office. You could be a wild radical that's making sure your daughter is fed. Versus being a wild radical to make sure you got bread in your pocket and J's on your feet.
Right. So what are you guys' goals as an artist? Like, looking at where you are right now, where do you plan to go? Like, what's the limit?
There is no limit.
Okay.
I plan to be doing this until the day I die, and that's another reason why I have such a skill set. Because no matter how old I am, I can write poetry. No matter how old I am, I can produce a beat for you. I've acquired not only the performing skills, but the skills of being a performer. I want to be able to go across the world. I want to be able to travel and have my music and art reach many people. I want to be able to go to China and have people be like, I understand that. No matter what language it's in, they can understand it. Because it's a global message for everyone. We're not the only people struggling. Like, we have this tunnel vision of Baltimore. Baltimore, Chicago, 7,000 murders. Like, and we over here talking about 600 in a year. They talk about 7,000 over the last decade. Like, it's not just us. It's everywhere, and we gotta grasp that bigger picture. Right now, we're all looking at this really small picture of this is Baltimore, this is black people, this is everyone. Across this entire globe, there are people that can relate to broken homes. There are people that can relate to poverty. There are whites and Europeans that can relate to it too. And I feel like what I hope to bring with my art in the future is to simply have people realize that they're not the only ones. Because when I sit down and listen to music, it's like, okay, somebody else gets it. When I listen to a poem, you understand me. You have sat there and you use your words and your writing and your time to put together something that not only describes how you feel, but describes how I feel, how he may feel, and how a bunch of people who can't express themselves feel. So that's my general thing. I hope to really take it to something big.
Good. What about you, Darius? Where do you plan to go with it?
Well, my goal is basically in my music, I want people to know that don't be afraid to be different. Like, when you get on the mic, don't think because your story is not the same like everybody else, you don't have nothing to say. There's somebody out there listening to you. Everybody has a message. Whether it's, you had the struggle, whether you never even knew what poverty was, but just you've been around it. Everybody's story is different. So I don't see why everybody's story is the same. Not everybody's been in front of a gun. Nobody has ever held a gun. So, just different. Be different, be you. It's okay to be a misfit sometimes.
Absolutely. Now, Illestrate, you said something that I feel is very important, and it leads me to ask this next question. Do you feel like, as a young man, even coming from Brooklyn to now in Baltimore, do you feel like that there's a system designed to hold young people back? Like some people say, well, the system's in place to hold us back and keep us from doing this, keep us from doing that. Like, do you feel like that's the case as a young person?
I believe it's a system, but I believe it's a system that we've continued. We didn't start it, but we continued it through tradition, through traditional thinking. For example, it's a stereotype that black people like chitlins, right? But a lot of black people don't know the reason they like chitlins, and the reason that was the thing was because we were given the scraps of a pig when we were slaves. And that means that's simply a traditional thought. It's unhealthy. It's literally like nothing. But we still eat it and still have kept it as a traditional black thing, simply because we've been taught that, and it's just been carried and carried. And it's at a point now where you can't unteach what you've been taught all your life sometimes. when that's what you've been taught all your life, you're surrounded by, your grandmother did it, your grandfather did it, your mother did it, your father did it, your brothers are doing it, your sister did it and passed away, and you didn't care because you still saw that your friends were doing it.
Right.
It's like we are in a mindset that can't be changed because it's ancestral. It's something that we have perpetuated at this point.
Right.
And the only way to stop it is for us to stop it. The higher powers that be, whether you want to call it white people, whether you want to call it the devil, whatever you want to call it, the powers that be that are holding us back can't unless we let them. We're more powerful than we think. We're more powerful than we even know. But we're not exercising that power because as far as we know, we can't even access it.
Right. So, you say what?
I said we underestimate ourselves a lot.
Wow, okay.
Because of the fact that we're placed in this little box. And we think it's okay. We grew accustomed to it. Everybody's afraid to step out of that box. But as soon as you step out of that box, you are shunned by the people who's in the box. Because of the fact that they think it's safer, it's okay. We need to get out of that. We came from kings, queens, pharaohs, just goddesses. It's just so much that we just need to unlock. We just need to unlock our full potential.
So how do you suggest we access and exercise the power that we're not using? Like from your perspective, you know, it's not a trick question or anything like that, not a right or wrong answer, but from your perspective, how do we access that power? How do we step outside of the box?
Learn more about it.
Education. You can take a man to water, but you can't make him fish. You can teach a man to fish, and he'll eat. If you just give him a fish, he's gonna eat for that night. If you teach a man to fish, he will continue to eat. And the thing is, our education system is crap. They teach us what they want us to learn, what they think is important. But when it comes down to it, you haven't taught any young black people how to do their taxes. You haven't taught any young black people that when they turn 21 and they offer their mother's insurance, how to get their own and to make sure that it's affordable for them. You haven't taught them interview skills. You taught them trigonometry. A plus B equals C. When they get their paycheck, there is no A or B. That's not what they see or what we see, I should say. So we're not getting the correct education. We're getting an overall thing that's supposed to be about overall problem solving. But when it comes down to it, that's not how we're gonna do it. You have individualization is the future of education. Right now, this whole standardized testing thing, this standards this, standard that, when you start trying to bring a standard, you can lower that standard as low as you want. And then people are just trying to meet that low standard and don't go any higher than they can. When you give individualized education, which is gonna take money, which of course people don't wanna spend, but when you individualize education and tell little Timmy, hey little Timmy, how do you wanna learn how to do your math today? We could do it in a song, we could have these blocks out for you. What do you wanna do, little Timmy? Timmy now has his own interest in planting in it versus Miss Johnson's interest, versus Mr. Jackson's interest. It's now Timmy's brain, it's now Timmy's heart that's guiding him to learn versus grades, versus monetary gain, you know, versus, oh, I'll give you $10 if you get this A. He's gonna get that $10 and spend it on what? Because you didn't tell him, oh, yeah, you get that A, you get this $10, you should probably invest it. You should probably save it. No, you just gave him $10, he's gonna do what any other kid's gonna do and spend it on video games and games. You gotta educate individually because not everybody learns the same.
Right.
And the thing is, we know this, but we don't think about it. I've had my mom sit here and tell me about how she learned this and learned that. It's like, Mom, you have a totally different thing now. I'm a totally different person than you were. When you went to college and school, that might have been the way for you to learn, but that's not the way I have wanted to learn it. That's not the way Darius is gonna wanna learn it. That's not even the way you're gonna wanna learn it, because we all have different brains, we all act in a different way, and that's the hardest thing to do, is act for these variables that we all have. Nobody wants to account for them, it's laziness. But we have 1,000,001 variables in this world that nobody looks at, that nobody wants to assess. They just want to take one, hey, that success went for 100 people, it didn't go for the 1,000, screw it, we got 100 people, let's keep this one going. Right. And that's what they continue to do. They keep us in this standardized education. The answer is individualized education. Individualized, and I shouldn't have to pay. to learn what I need to learn. If you want me to be a productive member of society, why should I have to pay for that? Because in the end, we all benefit from that. Not only does my family benefit, but if I'm productive, so does your family benefit. You know, and not only benefits, but leads for somebody else. If I'm out there and I have my individualized education, I'm pursuing a skill in something that I enjoy. Now my kids look at me and say, "Oh, I want to do that too. I want to find something that I enjoy," and I would always support my children. I feel like that's one thing we don't have is supporting education in our children. I teach at an alternative school not far from here. I was teaching a dance program, and we haven't had the dance program for the last 2 weeks because the one student that was coming is no longer coming. She's out chilling, doing her own thing, instead of being in a place where she could be safe and in a place where she can learn something that she would probably enjoy.
Now, what about for you, Darius? Anything you want to add as to how young people, us period, as people, can access that power or step outside the box?
I believe it's self-education. You don't always have to wait for somebody else to give you a book and be like, here, read it. Sometimes you gotta give yourself the will to want to read that book.
The answer is yes.
And it's all it is. It's just willpower. You just need to tell yourself, look, if I want to know this, that, and the third, A to point B, I need to open this book up. So first, I need to just pick myself up, get out of bed, just stop watching TV, even just cut everything electronic off. Stay away from Instagram, stay away from Snapchat. Pick up that book. That's all it takes. Only you can tell yourself to, I want to be better, I need to do better. But if you don't got the will, then you can't do it.
I mean, I'm sitting here talking to you guys, and I'm listening to y'all talk, and it's like, it's a breath of fresh air, man. I mean, a lot of young people are not like you guys, you know. I don't know if it's the artists in you guys, or just the choices you made, or the people you surrounded yourself with, but, I mean, you guys are taking education seriously, you're taking your art serious. I mean, you're not the average people. You're not the young black guy that they see on CNN during the riot, you know. So it's like hearing from you guys is very refreshing.
Because they don't want you to hear it.
Right, they don't. And I commend you guys for what you're doing, the way you're headed. You know, I wish you guys the best, all the best. You know, and going forward, like I really want to see you guys, even as artists, you know what I mean, begin to really take the stage and start informing people and teaching people. Because I'm one of those people who believe you don't have to have a degree that say you're a teacher to teach, you know. What you've learned is enough for you to turn around and teach somebody else. You know, which leads me kind of to my next question, like as artists, do you have programs that kind of mentor or help other people who may say, you know what, I might be 14 years old, 15, I don't know anything about art or poetry, but you know, I'm not closed to it. You know, do y'all have anything where y'all introduce people to art and being able to, you know, put their thoughts and energy into paper?
Well, that's exactly what mycology is.
Okay.
That's exactly what mycology is, because we realize the need for that.
Okay.
We realize the need for us to teach us. We have workshops, we have open mics, we have exercises, activities. We just had a theater improv day, taught by me. And we sat there and did theater improv games, and I even detailed what the improv games were for skill-wise. You know, playing a game like, it's a game called Ninja. That's about coordination, reaction to your partner on stage, energy given on stage, all these things that most people just view it as a game.
Right.
But it's education. It's education if you look at it the correct way. It's all about perspective.
That's great. So I mean, you guys having mycology, is that the name? Mycology. So what's the motivation? You know, like every day you get up, you say you're into your art. Every night almost you're performing or you're finding an open mic night. You know, what's the motivation? Like, what is it that you feel when you wake up in the morning and say, you know what, I want to do my art today, or I want to focus on my art today? What's the motivation? Like, what is it on the inside Because I'm trying to figure out what do you guys have that people are missing. You know what I mean? Like, what's the driving force? What's the motivation? Like, what got you into the art?
I would say, it's funny you say it, because I started out a video game kid. My goal in life till I was about 12, 13 was to make video games.
Okay.
I was a straight A student when I was in elementary to get into middle school, and that's all I did all day. I came home, did my homework, I played video games. And I had video game ideas and designs I wanted to do, but I couldn't draw. And so I started trying to focus on the math of it and all that stuff, and it wasn't really hitting me. It wasn't really fulfilling me the way I wanted it to.
Right.
My grandmother's best friend, Miss B, put a piano in front of me and taught me some chords, and I ran with it. She told me Mary had a little lamb, and I ran with it.
Wow.
A chord is 3 keys together that are evenly spaced, no problem. And I would sit there and press a chord, press a chord, press a chord, press a chord, and press some keys with it. And I would sit there and play for my grandmother. As I got older, I sit there and play for my mom, play in my room to myself. Then I started picking up drums. And I slowly started to realize that I don't need numbers in math to prove that I'm smart. I don't need, A's and B's to prove that I'm smart. I have my art. Some of the most intelligent people are artists. There's math in that. There's geometry in that. There's English in that. I've learned poetic devices. I've learned figurative language, and that's without a degree. That's simply from going to these events and taking notice of what people use in their art and what they use in their poetry, and taking it into mine and going and doing the research. Everything is for you. Everything is there. The answers, they're online, literally. Every answer to every test you've ever had is online. It's a matter of self-education. It's a matter of finding what you want to learn. If you find it, it's right there for you. I learned how to play piano damn near by myself until 9th grade when I finally got into a piano class. I was playing improv piano until drums. I had taken percussion for 1 year in 4th grade and took it from there and taught myself. Production, I taught myself. It's a matter of taking the effort and taking the time. That's all it is. And what really has motivated me, at least in the last couple of years, is a future. I wanna see the future, not only of my art, but art in general. Like, I believe that when I contribute, if somebody else sees it and then they want to contribute, they want to make it better too. And if I could just hit one person today, I've made my goal.
So what about for you, Darius? What would you say your motivation is? What's your driving force?
Well, as a kid, I was always the one who was hanging out with my friends around the block, around the area, chilling, playing basketball. She was on ball, I was in high school. But then one day my uncle actually sat me down. It was like when I was 9, probably 11. He was like, he played me a few songs, he played me a few beats and everything, and he was like, I know you can spit. I want you to spit something for me. And then he started rapping, and he was telling me how to make things rhyme or say things that make sense. And that's why I developed being a freestyle artist. And then after doing that, I also started becoming an in homebody. So just being in the house, sometimes where you don't make good grades and everything, C's, D's, you kind of get punished and you're stuck there. So all you got is your book, your pen, and your encyclopedias. And your encyclopedias.
Right.
So being in the house during that time, I just read certain things, give myself new definitions to certain words that I'm not familiar with. And then I have my pen, my paper. I write my thoughts. I write everything that I think of on a daily basis. Again, I never wrote anything about myself. I always talk from a different perspective. Because I feel like it's better to tell people to talk from a different perspective of things than talking about yourself. And that's what drives me. What really drives me is to do better. What can you do that you didn't do yesterday? What can you do that can make you a better person than you was 2 years ago or 2 months ago?
That's right. That's right. So being, and I heard you said earlier too, Illestrate, you said when you was in Brooklyn, you were a problem child. So I guess that got you here in Baltimore.
Yeah, up in the Bronx, I was shoplifting from bodegas and got caught up. Like, mind you, I was like 7.
Shoplifting at 7.
I was like 7, and
where the thought of shop? Like, how did you even know? Like,
my friends. I had little friends that told me they came to school one day and they had like an extra bag of chips or something. I was like, where'd y'all get that from? That's in the lot? It was like, no, we got it from the store up the street. I was like, you got money? It was like, no, we got it from the store up the street. Like, oh. Can I do that too?
Right.
Go ahead. And I went and I just did it, and it worked for a little bit until I got caught up one day. He like literally came up behind me because I guess I was going into it way too frequently, and he literally dragged me out the store. Only way my mom found out was because when she came to pick me up, she just so happened to see my teacher, who just so happened to be in the store that morning.
Wow.
So yeah, I was grounded for an entire summer.
Wow. So was it just at one time, or you just started stealing all the time from there?
No, it was like I had been doing it for like a month, and then I finally got caught. And once I got caught, I was like,
yeah.
no.
Yeah. All right, that's funny. That's funny. So you know, I heard you talk about being in the house, being I guess pretty much bored, not having much to do, but you got your pen and paper there. So now here you are punished, or whatever the case may be, bored or punished. You're in your room, you got pen and paper, like. The thoughts that begin to run through your head to make you say, you know what, I'm gonna write this down. Is it birthed from anger, frustration? Is it birthed from a happy place? Like where are these thoughts coming from? Like are the thoughts saying, I wish I had this, but I don't? Or I had this and it was hard, or I had this and it was easy? Like where are those thoughts coming from? What kind of thoughts are we writing down? Just trying to get a feel for the type of art that.
For me, my biggest like on the spot inspiration is always music. I will literally sit there and I like to find what I can make different. That's my thing. I like to make things different. I like to flip things. So I like to listen to what I've been listening to recently, my favorite song, and I'll try and find the message of it, like the direct message of it, and I'll flip it. Or I'll find a line in it that most people would look at it a certain way. The song I Bet by Sierra. I was listening to that one day, and the last line, and right now it's killing me, cause now I have to find someone else, and all I want is you. And it was like, I felt that before. You know, when I had to give up on the one person that I did want, and now I had to find somebody else that I want, but I'm not even sure if I want to find somebody else,
Right.
Regardless of how things have been. And music has always been that for me. Music has always helped me connect better to my emotions. I'm a person that tries to just chill and keep things mellow, and I try not to get too emotional and dramatic, because it doesn't help a lot. But in my art, I need to connect to my emotion. I need to let that go and let that be released in a way that I can't just normally sometimes talk it out with my friends. Sometimes I can only talk it out with my pen and pad. And my headphones. So yeah, music has always been a big thing for me, always.
What about for you? You see the same?
I would say sometimes my thoughts kind of go in a dark place. It goes in the darkest place possible and say, okay, how can you get out of that? How can you make light out of this situation? How can you tell the person that's going to listen to your music things are going to get better? And you know, like I made a song that's called Forsaken. And basically it's just saying, because my father passed 3 years ago.
Wow, sorry.
Thank you. But that song was basically saying, even though I'm in this dark situation, I can hear the devil talking to me. I'm not gonna listen. But why am I here? Why am I in this deep, dark state of mind? It's basically a question to myself. What are you gonna do? And that's where most of my inspiration is. Dark situations, dark paths, again, going back to the song Talking Objects, I have two friends who want to commit suicide. One of them wanted to take their life just popping pills and ending it all. The other was, I'm going to grab this knife and I'm going to cut myself. It's not the way to go. And I'm talking to them thoroughly, like, don't do this ain't it. And the message is, there's always a bright future. Just because your present is looking kind of dim, kind of dark, doesn't mean your future is not bright. You can get out of any situation if you put your mind to it. It's all about strong willpower.
Wow, that's great. So you guys, I'm sure after you perform, and you perform quite a bit, what is the feedback like after a performance? You know, I'm sure you get a lot of good feedback. People saying you reached them. Like, do you ever feel like you change people's lives by performing?
Ask him. I'm the most, like, I don't want to hear you talk about me person in the world. I was like, oh,
It's all good.
like, I've heard, like, especially Nova. Nova's one person that will just sit there and talk about me for 5 minutes. Like, oh, he's the best in Baltimore, young king, and this is one of the people we want an office one, and then I'm like, oh my God, I just wrote a poem.
He's the president.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I love it. It feels great because I'm a person, I feel like I haven't been acknowledged in my art sometimes. I feel like I've put in a lot of work and dedication towards this art, and I feel like it doesn't get seen sometimes. I ride the bus, and I travel everywhere. Like I said, I performed 7 times in 1 week, a different place each night, and it was no easy task getting all those places. But I'm there, and I feel dedicated, and I feel like this is what I want to do. And I really want people to see it. And feedback is great. And I really thank anybody, Artistry Tuesday family, I really love y'all. Like, y'all have always given me the best support in the world. So I really thank y'all for that. My Gology family's always given me great support, and they always give me great feedback. Nova will sit there and get in my butt about anything. If I stumble, if I didn't go in the crowd far enough, if I didn't turn them up enough. Icon of God is also another part of my part of the brand, the BU brand that I'm with Nova. He'll sit there like, yo, you know you could do this better than that. Yo, he gonna beat you.
Yo, why you bluffing?
Yo, why you bluffing? Like, and that's what I love. That's the best feedback to get in the world, because that means you're actually listening. You're actually watching. So yeah, it's great. It's great.
So I know it's definitely great to have that encouragement and inspiration from a mentor. Mentors impact people. That was one of the key things we wanted to really get out there with doing these talk shows, man. The importance of having a good mentor, having somebody in your life that you can really say, you know what, I can go to this person in the time of need, when I need something, you know, if I'm down, if I don't know how to handle a situation. Because I'm pretty sure you both would love to impact people's lives with your art, you know, and to be able to do that and know that, wow, somebody's life was changed because they heard one of my pieces. Somebody put down the gun because they heard one of my pieces. Somebody stopped themselves from committing suicide because, you know, they heard one of my pieces. I'm sure that would do a lot for you, and I think that sometimes your art may be the only thing a person has, you know, where somebody else might say, you know what, well, I have a mentor I can go to when I don't know how to handle a certain situation, but somebody else might not have that mentor, but they got music. They might not have that mentor, but they heard your poem, and now they say, wow, because of your poem. Or imagine the people who don't tell you.
And just feel it.
Right, and because of your poem, because of your art, they say, you know what, I'm about to go in a different direction.
Really?
You know, we talked before the show, we were talking about how unsupportive sometimes people can be in Baltimore, you know, and with not having that support, you'd be surprised the people you might actually run into, and they say, you know what, man, I saw your show, I saw your performance, man, it was a great piece, and you're like, oh, okay, wow. Like, I wish I'd have known that when I did it, you know? You know, so sometimes you get support on the back end and not on the front end, but imagine the people that don't support you visibly, but support you silently, you know, and they thrilled at what you do, and what you're doing is changing their life. And sometimes it could be that what you're doing is silently changing somebody's life to the point where they say, you know what, if this young man can do it, I can do it. So sometimes people be in deep thought like, wow, they doing it. I know I can do it. You know, so sometimes people are just mentally processing things on their own. And I just want to take this time, man, just to thank you both for coming out. I know you weren't expected to be on the show tonight, but you came in and filled in, and it's like you were supposed to be here. So I appreciate it, man. And Illestrate, man, definitely awesome having you here, man, and getting to hear from you, hear your story, hear the things you got going on, your passion about your art. I'm excited to hear you next. So we're about to end, and Illestrate, you're going to perform next. I'm excited about it. But before we leave, if you want to just let people know what your contact information is, how they can reach you on social media, things like that, you can do that at this time.
Well, my name is Illestrate. You can follow me on Instagram at _ILLESTRATE, Illustrate. I'm on Facebook, Lateef Illustrate McNeil. I have a DVD out. It's called Illustrious Live. It's a 45-minute DVD of my solo show back in July. And has about 8 poems from me featuring Nova Gray and Icon to God. It's like a visual poetry album, so please get that. It's only $10 on gumroad.com. I love y'all and I follow back, so please follow me.
Yeah, this is Darius. Y'all can easily follow me on ATF_Darius94. You can find me on Facebook, Darius Moore. And also, if y'all love Snapchat and like a little laugh, follow me, Darius94.
Mama said my son never been in no trouble. Mama said my son never been in no trouble. Mama said my son never been no killer. Mama said my son ain't been no gangster, no drug dealer, no gang member. Mama, if only you knew the voodoo they do to turn my sunny days into boo-hoos. I have my lifestyle from you, hoping that one day I'll come to a better solution. Before you find out, or before it's too late. See, I hate to make you jealous, mama, but the streets is my second mama, but the plug is my father, and all my brothers are born from and for drama. This is my family. The streets feed my needs. Need a Sprite lemon lime, flip a dime. Need some money for a date, flip an eighth. New Jordans on order, flip a quarter. But see, when it came down to class, you would think I was dumb at math unless it came down to calculating that half of that whole brick. See, some teachers in administration wasn't enough of a motivation in my calculations. I'd rather skip class, flip a brick, and make that quick cash instead of waiting patient. See, 2 Chainz said I was stagnant. Then Jeezy told me I was the man in these streets. Then Meek Mill told me to never love these hoes, and Rick Ross told me to make sure that my whole team eats. Wrong words from rich men. Hoping that I can get like them by some pussy popping pills in a pen. But where I'm from, pens get broken. Broken out of and broken men enter. Cold corner winters. Summer slinging splinters. Spring sprung sprinters and fall flame flinters as we light another blunt and run from our authority. Trapped from sunrise to sunset, either freezing or melting for the majority. But I never let you see, Mom. As hardworking as she is, raising this one kid, not knowing that every day of her life, of her baby's life, is a new bid. A bid on freedom. A bid on life. I couldn't love these women, so I made this money my wife. No one to love me but me. Because I'm convinced that getting money is the only reason that any of these women would ever touch me. Hold me, mama. Your overnight shifts led to overnight spliffs, late night hits, and red light licks. I picked the wrong one day. Me and my homies rode up on this Mexican, yo, Jose. Called him over like, Ole! Kicked his ass, stole his cash, and laughed the whole way. But little did we know about Jose's MS-13 connects. Mexican mafia dudes coming for our next, all because of some blatant disrespect. One whole day after Jose, they found out every hangout my crew stayed, including my mother's house. So when the door gets kicked in and 3 men rush in, 3 guns start busting, and mama comes in to save me, taking maybe 3 bullets to the back. It's not long before I have 2 in my chest and 1 in my brain. I thought I was able to survive, but I was killed by cane. Cocaine, pimp canes, lane slain is now my throat hangs on her head. Now she's bleeding out and dying because I was out chasing that bread. But before I died, I remember my last memory ever. She gripped my arm, looked in my eyes, and whispered softly, "Son, you gonna live here forever."